We nearly doubled profit on this specialized Tupperware products Amazon brand in a single month by using these 5 Amazon PPC strategies, and I'm gonna walk through all 5 of them with you now. Now, what this brand actually sells is to-go containers specifically for noodles, which is a really great niche. And you can see here, we went from profiting about $6,000 a month to profiting over $11,000 a month. And actually this screenshot was taken before the end of the month. It was actually close to $12,000. Now let's walk through exactly what we did on the PPC to actually achieve this result. And I'm gonna get right to the point because I know you guys have a very low attention span. I've got my tea ready to go. Let's get right into it. All right, like I said, there were 5 strategies that we actually used to achieve this result. Number 4, I guarantee that you're not doing, and that's the one that I consider one of our core secret sauce strategies, but all of them are gonna help you to increase profitability and revenue of your PPC if you actually implement them. So let's start with number 1, and this is campaign chaining. What this means is that you're not operating the campaigns in isolation. We took the campaigns and actually linked them into one another so they all helped each other perform better. So what are some examples of this? Let's say you've got an auto campaign, a broad match campaign, and an exact match campaign. Now, instead of operating these campaigns independently, what you're gonna do is link them together and let them inform one another. So for example, your auto campaign is gonna be generating lists of keywords, and Amazon is constantly gonna be testing out new keywords for you. So in your search term reports, you're going to see a bunch of keywords that you had never thought of, that you didn't find in your keyword research, that Amazon is actually targeting for you. And you're going to see how these keywords are actually performing. So say keyword 1 performed badly, keyword 2 performed really well, and keyword 3, we don't have enough data yet to figure out whether it's converting well or not. So keyword 1, I know not to target them in my broad match or in my exact match campaigns. And I might even, if I have my broad match campaigns going with keywords that are overlapping keyword 1, I might even negate it there. Keyword 2, I might decide to plug that into my broad match campaign as a particular keyword so I can find specific search terms off the back of it that perform even better. So say keyword 2 was pain relief. Now I'm going to put pain relief into my broad match campaign so that I could see pain relief for elderly, pain relief for knees, pain relief for elbows. That's all going to come out in my broad match campaign. So we call this the discovery campaign, and we call this the research campaign. So I'm going to find a bunch of different keywords that are different variations of that one keyword that I've found that performed well from that auto campaign. So you see how these 2 campaigns are linked together. Now, while I'm running this campaign, I'm going to find what specific search term actually performed the best and plug it in as its own exact match, single keyword exact match campaign over here. So I might find that keyword 2.1, maybe that particular keyword was joint pain relief for knees. I'm going to set up an exact match single keyword campaign because I know that that search term performs well, and I know it's high volume. I know it's high relevance. So I want to have a lot of control over how I target that keyword. I'm going to create an exact match campaign off of that. So you see how my campaigns actually inform one another. Another example of campaign chaining is when I take a target that's working well in one type of campaign and I create a whole different ad type about it. So say I have a keyword that's doing really well in my sponsored product campaigns. I'm going to then create a campaign in sponsored brands that targets the exact same target, and I'll even specifically tailor my creative in sponsored brands to that particular search term, or even more importantly, to that particular buyer intent. So my campaign performance in sponsored products is actually driving my campaign setup inside sponsored brands. You could do the same thing with placements. So when I see that a certain placement is doing really well for a product, I'm going to try pushing that placement harder in my other campaigns and my other ad types. The point is to make sure the campaigns are learning from one another. That is the key. Okay, the second thing we did is rebalance the ad spend to focus more on the highest converting variations. Basically what we did was any keyword that was variation specific, like a color, like orange, or like a size, like large, we would still focus those keywords on that particular variation, but the rest of the general keywords, we would focus them on the variation that was converting the best broadly. Then we made sure that the prices of the other variations were such that they had a higher margin. So if somebody clicked on our ad because we're advertising the variation that has the highest click-through rate, and then they bought another one, we'd make a fatter margin off of that increasing the overall margins of the product. The third thing we did was spin up ranking campaigns. And the way we did this was finding good targets that were performing really well in auto campaigns, broad match campaigns, and phrase match campaigns, and putting them in their own single keyword exact match sponsored product campaign so that we could fine tune the placements. This is really critical because the placements are on a campaign level. You can only adjust the placements for a campaign, which means if you have multiple keywords in a campaign, you're adjusting the placements for all of them. Whereas if you have one keyword in the campaign, you can fine tune the placement for that particular keyword. And every product has a few keywords that are really important for it that deserve to have their own campaign. We call these alpha campaigns. And the reason they're so important is that these campaigns, you need to have a very high caliber way to control how much of the spend is going top of search versus rest of search versus product pages, because those three main placements on Amazon are going to have very different economics. So you might be pushing top of search really hard because it's got the highest click-through rate when you're trying to drive ranking. But once you've ranked, you might back off on that top of search placement because it's more expensive and instead just focus on continuing to drive sales velocity at a lower cost with cheaper CPCs, which are normally found in rest of search and product pages. And for keywords that are really important, you just can't leave it up to chance by bundling them together with a bunch of other keywords. And also, that really hurts your ability to use PPC to drive ranking. What this allowed us to do was drive ranking for those keywords, which increased our organic sales, decreasing our tacos, increasing our margin. Now, the fourth thing we did, this is kind of our secret sauce at Sophie Society. And what it is called grouping your campaigns by shopper intent. Most people, most PPC freelancers and agencies and brand owners will group their keywords by search volume. And what this does is it muddies the water in the data, which makes it very difficult for you to take the PPC data and use it to improve everything else about your brand. So when you organize things by shopper intent, what it allows you to do is see based on which campaign is getting high click-through rates and high conversion rates, or low click-through rates and high conversion rates, or high click-through rates and low conversion rates, what's not connecting with the shopper, what concepts are not connecting with the shopper. So if I have one whole group of keywords, it's all about travel, and it's travel, it's plane, it's train, it's driving. And then I have another group of keywords that's all about the material, wood, maple, or flexible, or whatever. And then I have a whole other group of keywords that's all about the avatar for kids, for toddlers, all of that stuff. I know that those are three completely different intents, things that the shopper has in their mind when they're searching. And the only way to actually find this out is by doing the keyword research yourself. And I'm actually going to be coming out with a deep keyword research video that you guys can watch so you can see exactly how to do this. But that's the only way to do it. You actually have to put a human eye to it. Sorry to say, you can't automate this or have a robot do it. Put a human eye to it and sort them out. You only have to do this once, and then for the life of the product, you have these different buyer intents that you've segregated your campaigns around. Now, when you do this properly and you actually organize your campaigns by shopper intent and you put all the keywords from each of these shopper intents into a campaign, now you know that these campaigns represent the success of you communicating that particular idea. What this allows you to do is take the data from these campaigns and use it to increase your click-through rate and increase your conversion rate by altering your thumbnail and altering your listing, using the data from these campaigns to inform the changes that you actually make on your thumbnail and listing. This is the magic that actually makes everything perform better in the business. And last is phrase negations. So what does this mean? Well, you're gonna find when you look in the PPC data that there's gonna be a bunch of terms that continue to show up even though they're not relevant to the product because people tend to search for them. So for example, if I'm selling a wooden phone holder, it's gonna show up for people searching for plastic phone holder and bronze phone holder or metal phone holder, but those terms are not relevant. So I know that anybody searching for other materials like plastic or bronze or flexible or gold or stainless steel or any of that stuff are not relevant, even though they continue to show up. So I'm gonna make sure that I'm continually looking at my PPC data and phrase negating those terms, meaning I'm not just negating that term, I'm negating anything that includes that term in it. And that's how we just about doubled the profit on this brand in just a single month. This literally just happened. If you want to see if you're applicable to work with me and my company to scale your brand with PPC, click the link in the description of this video and you can apply there. It only takes a minute. And if you want to see how to use the data that Amazon gives you to do a bunch of this ninja stuff, click this video where I walk through exactly how to use the search query performance report, which is something you've probably heard of before, but don't know exactly how to utilize. I walk through all of it right here. This will give you basically ninja superpowers. Click that, check it out, and I'll see you guys in the next one.